Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whoever and wherever you are. This is Coach Lee, and we are talking with Ella. Say howdy, Ella.
Howdy.
She started stuttering at age 7, was about a third of her speech with family and friends for some reason. It was less, it was more with family and friends. Maybe that's because she had to talk there, but it's a bit unusual. But so what? The problem is something we beat anyway, wherever we do it. So therapy. She was told to stutter with everyone, and that is not the program that we want her to follow. We don't want her to stutter with anyone, and that's why we have tools. That's why we have crutches and speech plans. That's why we read aloud. That's why we do mind training every day. You came to us in June, which really, at least to me, that's fairly recent. But you have stopped having bad incidents anywhere, correct?
I actually had a bad incident recently. But I after it happened, I knew how I could have avoided it. It just happened.
And prior to that, you can't remember your last bad?
No.
Okay. All right, so where were you, what happened, and what should you have done?
Yeah, so I was teaching yoga and I'm hooked up to a mic. And whilst being hooked up to the mic, there's music blasting. So I couldn't hear my own self speak. And I'm very scared of words that begin with the letter S.
Not anymore.
No. They're words that I plan. And to be transparent.
But you can always say anything. Well, I'm not going to tell you what to do. You keep going.
Yes. So we were nearing a yoga pose that begins with an S. And it was like a plank variation. And there was like 3 words that begun with the letter S, and they just wouldn't come out of my mouth. So I don't know what ended up coming out of my mouth. But
now, what could and should you have done?
Well, I could have dropped the first letter.
That's one thing.
One crutch that I realized that I could have used. I'm just always so scared to use that crutch because I'm scared that people are going to notice that I used it.
But, I can rop the erst etter of ost, erds, and entens and eat right on talking, and you can ill understand I a. Even though I sound a bit funny, you can ill understand me. Isn't that true?
Yeah. No, that's true.
It sounds funny, but the point is, an occasional word here and there. Everybody does that. Every human being does that. You got to stop thinking. Look, don't worry about what other people think about you. As long as you're doing your best, being a good person, being as loving as you can be, and you're doing your best, and you do mind training every day, you don't have anything to worry about. You're always going to achieve well, I shouldn't say always, in almost all cases, you're going to achieve your reasonable goals. And people are going to think well of you, period. That's all you got to do. You say, well, that's a lot. I know. To do your best all the time, that's a lot. And to be loving, that's a lot. But when you do that, people are going to think well of you. I don't care if you mess up with an S word or what you do with an S word. It's not going to matter. You got to have a little confidence in yourself. Look in the mirror, and have a little confidence. You got to count your blessings. You got a lot of reasons to be grateful. You got to start doing it and stop thinking about what other people's opinions are largely irrelevant. You can't control them anyway. But when you do your best and you're a loving person, they're going to end up being some level of a fan of yours anyway. Some level. So you mess up on an S word, they're not going to care. If you mess up on 10 S words, they're not going to care about that either. Nobody does. Now, coming back to the S words, so you could have dropped the first letter. That's one thing you could have done. What else could you have done?
I could have linked it.
Yeah, and how would you have done that? Can you tell me those 3 words? What were they?
Side plank.
Side plank. I never heard of such a thing. Go ahead.
Yeah, side plank. Stagger the feet.
Stagger the feet. Okay, hold on. I'm writing them down. And what else?
Or stack the feet.
Stack the feet. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh. Look, my feared letters were L's because Lee Lovett is my name. R's, Richard Richardson. W's, William Williamson. Those are my, and it's all nonsense. It's ridiculous. There is no more reason to be concerned about an R, a W, or an L, or an S than there is about having an egg for breakfast. I mean, there's no reason to be concerned about it. Now, yes, you could have dropped the first letter. I'd plank, dagger the feet. Say that, dagger the feet.
Dagger the feet.
Tack the feet. You said tack the feet?
Tack the feet.
Yeah. I'd plank.
I'd plank.
That's dropping the first letter. Now, let's put a few words in front of them. Well, let's use these words as a sound launch. Sometimes the easiest solution is to hit the problem head on. Side plank. Say that.
Side plank.
The minute you stretch it and come out of your voice range up a little bit or down a little bit, side plank, do that.
Side plank.
The minute you come out of your voice range, up or down, you will never stutter. That's crutch 8. You never will. If you stayed up there for a whole conversation, yeah, you could stutter, but you don't. You just come out for the word or the syllable or the letter you want. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's do it with stagger the feet. And when I'm stretching it and I'm linking it, stagger the feet. Do that.
Stagger the feet.
Stack the feet.
Stack the feet.
As long as when you stretch it out, when you come out of your voice range and stretch it out, you'll never have a problem saying that.
Okay.
And when you link to a stop, you're done. And always remember, the enemy is word planning. You don't need to plan anything. Your mind, give your mind some credit. Your mind deserves some credit. Take it. My light is, I didn't realize it was so bright. Anyway, so that's the easiest way is use it as a sound launch and take it out of your voice range a little bit higher or a little bit lower. And how much higher or how much lower depends upon how big a problem the word is. The bigger the problem, the more you come out.
Mm.
Side blank. I'm way up there now. Do that.
Side plank.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, I mean, and you know, you can do it like you're like your conductor, you're up there demonstrating things and all that. You're moving around. And
Yeah.
the more you move your hands and your body in natural ways, the easier it is to speak.
Okay. I have a question about word linkage.
Okay.
So when it comes to linking consonants together, so like if one word ends with a consonant and the next word begins with a consonant, I have trouble with that. As opposed to, I know, so stupid. I know. As opposed
Right.
to
You're a
linking,
human being too, you know. You're
no.
not the only one with this problem.
Yeah, so like as opposed to linking a vowel and a consonant, it's easy for me to do.
Well, can you give me an example?
Yes, of course. So, for example, right foot. So, linking those two words, I have trouble with, as opposed to linking the foot, so E and F, I'm able to link that no problem.
You know, bless your heart. I thought I'd heard it all, but I've never heard what you just said.
Really?
No, I've never heard it. Never heard it.
I'm glad I'm
This
unique.
is the human mind. I mean, creating problems that don't exist. You know, the mind can do it. Now, I'm here to tell you. Are you still doing your mind training twice a day?
Yes.
Good. And you still read aloud?
Yes.
Good. And don't you find these things that are cumulatively helpful in your speech and your life?
For sure.
I mean, don't you think that in many ways you're a different person now than you were when you started? In terms of your speech and your attitude about it?
100%.
Look, you gotta love this speech. You know, by one of the things I do my share of talking at SAM, and you never hear. Do you ever play the SAM meetings? You ever listen to them?
I have listened to a couple, but not frequently.
At the end, I usually say a bunch of stuff. And one of the advantages of listening to them is you hear me speaking at my best, which I'm not doing now. But there's nothing that I do that you can't do. But people are always saying, you're the best speaker I've ever heard or I've ever known, blah, 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 blah. Well, I don't know about that, but I'm a lot better than most people when I'm trying. And it's because I've been doing it a long time. But there's nothing that I do that my students can't do. But why do we read aloud? To hear ourselves be fluent. And secondly, to learn that the message is what counts. The minute you think you are at the stage where you should be thinking about the message and how you can say it with more feeling. We need to take the right foot and put it over here. Say that.
We need to take the right foot and put it over here.
Now, when you did that, you put some heart in it. You
Yeah.
put some feeling in it. And you blew away any perceived problem about consonants and vowels. And I mean, all that stuff is just, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It should ever even cross your mind. What should cross your mind? How can you say it like you mean it, Ella?
Yeah.
Be an actress. You're on the stage at work. You're a performer.
Yeah.
Do it with flair. Use your hands. Be emotive. Be passionate about what you say and what you do. Smile. I've got people who swear that smiling alone stops stuttering. Have you ever tried it, Crutch 12? Have you ever tried it?
Yes, and it helps me so much when I'm speaking and I'm anticipating a stutter. I just smile and it just like flows out of my mouth and I'm like, did that really just happen?
Exactly. I'm really saying three things to you. Using a sound launch combined with modulation, meaning coming out of your voice range. Any word that's a problem, side plank, stagger the feet, stack the feet. That's sound launch. And modulate. I'm stretching the word. I'm coming up high out of my voice range and I'm stretching it. It's easy. It works. I'm also saying smiling. Say after me, side plank. Say
Side plank.
stagger the feet.
Stagger the feet.
That's it. Right foot.
Right foot.
Okay, smiling. And I'm also saying, think message. You are at second base. We must stop planning words. Any word that you're planning, don't say that word, say something else. Such as, I mean, that's another solution, such as inserting a few words. Now we'll do the side plank. I said, now we'll do. I didn't say side plank. Now we'll do the side plank. Say that.
Now we'll do the side plank.
Right. And again, if you can begin thinking about the message and how you can say it more effectively, that trumps all methods. And you know, once you know enough basic methods that you can avoid, you know, just wiping out right and left, then you can start thinking about the message. And when you really think about the message, you never stutter. When you think about how I can say it, thinking how to say the message better, you know. So those three things. Now, and no word planning. When you plan a word, basically, you say something else. You can either insert words and say the planned word, or you can use a synonym, similar word, or phrase. You can rephrase the whole thing. It can take you could spell it. You know, you get to, when you're when you're giving a class, you're in charge and you get to say and do anything you want. Now we'll use the IGHT right foot. Say that.
Now we'll use the, wait, the RIGHT?
Yeah, I said, now we'll use the RIGHT right foot.
Now we'll use the RIGHT right foot.
Yeah, and I use my hand as well. RIGHT right foot.
Okay. Do I do it too? Now we'll use the RIGHT right foot.
Exactly. Now, no one would think that that's strange in any way, shape, or form. They wouldn't. Side plank, same thing. SIDE, side plank. You know, I'm not saying you do it with everything, but you can do it. You can do it with most everything, especially with names. What's your name? ELLA. Say that.
ELLA, Ella.
Use your hand. ELLA.
ELLA, Ella.
That's it. You'll never stutter when you combine. You got your hand, and you're breaking. You're doing letters, not the word. The problem is saying like me saying Lee. You know, nonsense. We don't say it. LEE Lee. I have no problem saying that. Look, your brain, if you leave your brain alone, you'll never stutter again as long as you live. But now you have this habit. It's not your brain's fault. You created this habit by worrying about something irrelevant.
Right.
Other people's opinions, which you can't control anyway. You made some mistakes way back when, and a few people laughed, and so you made some more mistakes, and they laughed more, and you dug a hole.
Yeah.
And that habit became an automatic response when you start talking. It no longer is, but you need to overtly think solutions when you speak. And if you simply thought, your speech plan could simply be smiling and acting, which means, emoting, being expressive, be a little bit over the top. You say, oh, I don't want to do that, but why not? It's more interesting for the listener, I'll tell you that. I remember when I was a kid, I used to sing, and my voice left me some years ago, but I used to sing. I sung on the radio and here, there, and yon. And I remember a speech teacher once telling me, he said, Lee, if you want to be any good, you got to be an extreme example of yourself. So I say to you, Ella, if you want to distinguish yourself at what you do, be an extreme example of yourself. Don't hold back. Do the opposite. You see these great athletes in different sports. They're all trying way beyond their normal level of effort mentally. And they're getting all kinds of production that a normal person won't get. You can teach your courses the same way. You can order food at McDonald's the same way. You can have fun with the order taker. You can start by smiling at them. That'll shock them.
Yeah.
Oh, somebody nice someone who's not going to bite my head off, and she's cute too. Give them a break. Don't hold back. Go out. Put it out there. Life is short. So, sound launch. Right foot. Modulation coming up. Right foot, right foot. Smiling, right foot. And then thinking how to say the message with like you mean it. Let's use our right foot. It's so much fun. Do it right. You know, don't take yourself too seriously and have more fun. Don't say the planned word. Put something in front of it or use a different word. Or be an actress, make a sound launch out of it, make a big event out of it, a big deal out of it. Let yourself go. Don't hold back. Speech is no longer your problem. Don't think that it is. So, you want to fight about any of this or what? What do you want to do?
Do I want to what?
Fight about any of this, or do you just want to say, I'm going to do it?
I'm going to do it.
Okay.
I'm going to do it. I'm not going to fight about it.
Okay. Okay. So, I think, again, you're not finished until you get to home plate.
Right.
You got to get to third base first. You got to love to speak everywhere. I do. You can too. And if you'll start smiling, that'll be a big step in the right direction. Really. And then when your speech is just fun, everywhere you go, speaking is fun. I love to speak. It's so much fun. And it's easy.
I love the energy. Great.
Not going to make a problem out of it. We're going to have fun with it.
Yeah.
And my money's on you. Now, the more you can talk under pressure, the better for you. The fact that you had a problem with family and friends is unusual, but stuttering has no rule. It doesn't really follow any rules. It's all over the place. So nothing is, it's all abnormal. It's all unnecessary.
Right.
And you're not abnormal. But when you let this problem take control of you, you seem to be, at least in that area, but you're not. It's not changing you. So talking more to your family and friends. How are you doing more of that now?
Yeah, I'm trying to. And it's kind of like a roller coaster. I have moments where I'm super fluent, and I have moments where I block and I panic. And I'm like, oh my God, what do I do? And my heart rate is like beating out of my chest.
And what do you do then?
Oh, I just stop talking.
And yeah, but that's to stop and then start again with thinking about your message, smiling, and so forth. But just stopping and avoiding is not good because it hides from the problem instead of solving it. You stop long enough to recompose yourself and say, think to yourself, I love to speak to my family and friends. I love to speak to my family and friends.
Yeah, that's a really good point. That's a very good point, because at that point, when I begin to block, then I just completely stop talking. I'm just very in my head from there and out. So, yeah, I have to work on just throwing a whole lot of affirmations.
You know, most people, their problem is talking. The biggest problem for most people is talking to groups. Now you talk to groups every day because you conduct a class.
Yeah.
So groups are not your problem, but so much. But I mean, they're a huge problem for most people. And talking to their families is nothing because their families are not judgmental. Their families know they have a problem. And, you know, it doesn't really matter to them. They wish we didn't, but it doesn't really matter. And so they relax around their family and they don't stutter much. My family never heard me stutter until my father heard me in court.
I remember reading that. That was a very interesting
I
story.
was 25 before my father knew I stuttered. And I told him I stuttered, and he laughed at me. Every time I told him, he laughed at me.
He didn't believe you.
No,
Mm-hmm.
he never did. But boy, when he heard me that day, he was mortified. I know he was. He was so disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
He never knew that I beat it because he died. He died before I beat it. So that was sad. But back to you. I was quote more normal stutterer. Problems with groups, you know, strangers, authorities, etc. Your problem is the reverse problem at home. But the good news about that is you get to see your family a lot, and you get to, so you can you need to go back into the lion's den, your family, and talk it up. You want to be the magpie there. I want you going in there, you know, just loving to chatter. You know the word chatter, natter, palaver, prattle, babble. These are all meaning talk nonsensically, those words. That's the way you want to talk with your family. Because that is what fluent speech is. You want to be a reckless talker with your family. You fear nothing. Number one, they're not going to judge you. If you make any mistake you make, they're not going to judge you anyway. They're going to love you anyway.
Yeah.
So you have zero risk. And you just want to be the wild and crazy talker, babble girl. You want to babble all the time you're around. Blah, 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 blah. Say anything, lots of things. Just talk. Doesn't matter what you say.
Nonsense.
Exactly.
Okay.
But you gotta go to your family and your friends and talk more. You need to do it a lot. That's your practice sessions should probably somehow, whether you call them that or not, with your family. But then again, you might even want to do that. You might have a brother or sister or a parent that you could say, hey, I need to just do this. Maybe you need to tell them, maybe you don't. I don't know. But you need to engage constantly in conversation there. And every time you're going in there, you're going, as I was going to say, when I would walk up to the mic, terrified, I was saying to myself, I love to give formal speeches with mics, you know, which is the very thing I did not want to do.
Right.
But I kept saying it, and I became quite an actor. You listen, if I hadn't stuttered, I know I would have been on the stage. I know I would have been. My aunt was on Broadway for years.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, she was a really good actress. And she did Shakespeare and all that stuff. I would have been, because I could sing too. And so I was a double threat. And I would have been on the stage. You know. And do I regret it? No, because I'd have never met the girl I married. I've been married 50 years and it's been a great marriage, and I would have never even known her had I done that. So I don't regret it, but it would have been a different life for me. And you're very young and you don't want to cheat yourself out of anything because of some silly notions and habits about speech. They're silly.
Yeah.
They really are.
Yeah.
Your speech is fine. You can say anything you want, anywhere you want, anytime you want. And you're going to enjoy doing it. But I want you to be more of an actress. I want you to have fun, be more, push your personality out there more.
Okay.
You'll have more fun. People will like you better too.
Okay.
Because you'll be more fun. You'll be more interesting. So be an extreme example of yourself, but work with your family, talk to them as much as you can in your idle time, pick up the phone, call them, shoot the breeze. Do you live with your family?
Yes, I do.
Okay, well, perfect. That's great. So you don't really you got a constant place to practice. That is your practice sessions. That's where you get it.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. That's
Isn't this so much fun, really? The whole thing. Getting smarter, not being worried about silly things. There's no genetic reason to stutter. There's no organic reason to stutter. And there's certainly no reason to stutter chronically. There just isn't. You've done your time stuttering. You're finished. You're washed up with stuttering. You're moving on.
I'm done.
Exactly. And it probably wouldn't hurt you. I recommend it to most people.
Mm-hmm.
Joining Toastmasters. They can do it virtually these days and talking there. But your problem being with the family and friends, your focus really needs to be on that. You need to overdose on that as much as you can until you really do enjoy it the way I do. Do you ever, what do you usually read aloud when you read aloud?
Oh, I read the book How to Stop Stuttering, Mind Training, and Neuroplasticity.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
That's what I read aloud.
Okay. Do you like music?
Oh, I love music.
Another thing you can do is find wonderful songs and read the lyrics to them. Even read them with a bit of doing the melody a little bit sometimes. Stuttering is holding back, and that's what you don't want to do. You have no reason to.
Yeah.
You have nothing to fear. Your brain is totally reliable, especially when you're doing mind training. You're making sure that you're programming your mind a bit.
Right.
So you don't get dragged down a bad alley somewhere by somebody. into drugs or something, you know, or to doing very unwise things. So, look, but your goal is you want to keep moving with your speech. Your goal is not to be stationary.
Right.
It's keep improving. So, you know, you got to put some heat on yourself to the way you improve. You go to the gym to lift more weights to get stronger. Or you
Right.
do more yoga or whatever to get more flexible or whatever you're trying to accomplish. Same thing with the speech. You got to do it. So in your case, it means with family and friends in particular, but certainly in class, whether you're saying side plank or stagger the feet or whatever you're saying, you're going to say them all. You're going to say them well. You're going to enjoy every one of them.
Right.
And you're going to come out of your shell. You're going to be smiling. You're going to be expressive. And you can use crutches and speech plans if you need them, but mainly you want to smile and be expressive. I mean, when you do that, it all goes away. But going into difficult situations, you've got to be saying, I love to speak in this situation. Because, Ella, the greater the pressure, the better you speak. It's not the reverse.
Okay. That's a bold statement, but okay.
But it's absolutely true. And that's what winners do in sports.
Right.
And frankly, that's what I do in speech and have done for a long time. I am so much better when I'm under pressure. So, okay, so you know what your assignment is.
Yes.
You can't improve without working at it, okay? It's fun to improve and it's fun to work at it. So I don't want to make it sound like a problem. It's not. But you got to work at it.
Yeah.
So the next time I see you, I expect to see more smiles and an even better report.
Okay. That's a promise.
Okay. Take care of yourself, honey.
Thank you so much, Lee. Thank
All
you.
thanks to you, darling.
Thank you.